Hello, everyone. Are we live? Are we connected? Let's take a look. Okay, beautiful. So it seems we are all connected. How's everyone doing today? This is Thursday, December 18th. How is the end of Q4 going? How is the holidays coming along? Okay, beautiful. So this is the third session for open sessions here on LinkedIn. My name is Sarah Soul. I am the founder of Èlyseèn Experience. I work with high output professionals, leaders, high performers to optimize their internal system so they can operate and live and perform and lead from their highest frequency, from coherence. And today we're talking about quite an interesting topic, and it is all about energy intelligence. And energy intelligence, more specifically, for high output. So, what do I mean by this? First off, we are not talking about energy in terms of vitality, maybe to some degree, but it stems a lot deeper than that. When we talk about energy, just right off the bat, we are talking about this underlying force that animates life to begin with, right? So this is movement, this is perception, this is performance. And when we talk about energy, there's so many different definitions to what it could be, because energy is literally the life force that animates life. Without the essence of energy, of life force energy, we would not be the livelihood of ourselves. There would be no life without this force, hence life force. But there's so many definitions to it, because we could talk about energy in terms of thermal energy now, in terms of light, in terms of performance and the physicality of somebody, the vitality of somebody. We could go into depth about the metaphysical layer, which is about chakras and prana. Which is it? Well, today we're going to actually layer this down and break down the layers of the energy intelligence system within your human system, within our human system, and how we can utilize that and optimize it for high output. Okay? So, energy, right? We'll write this down. I'm going to write energy intelligence. Energy is simply that which gives life, motion, and expression. Without energy, there is no thought, there's no action, right? There's no vitality, there's no output. There is a key difference between, you might hear this all the time, but there is a key difference between being alive versus living. And if you've ever been in states of grief, depression, sadness, consistency without experiencing positive emotions such as joy, such as excitement, such as vitality, you will know this key difference between being alive versus living. Energy, life force energy, animates this. It makes it so that the spirit can come to life in a human entity, in the body, in the vessel. So, that being said, we can experience just subtle feelings of what this energy is. For example, thermal energy. Like if you're standing and you feel the sun, you see the sun, you feel that energy that has been radiating from the sun into your system. Think about when it's dark and how you feel when you see the sunrise, how it feels to feel that warmth on your skin on a cold day. It could be minus 20 degrees outside, but the moment that you feel that warmth of the sun on your skin, it gives life, it gives motion, it brings us alive. And I'm sure you've felt that before. So you don't need to believe in energy, because sometimes people are like, energy doesn't lie. Energy is not vibes, okay? It is a key component to life, and we experience it all the time. All the time. Okay? So across, let's give some examples, because before we go into any scientific depth to energy in the human system, since ancient times, ancient civilizations, before science was even a thing, before people kind of understood energy in general, throughout different cultures, people identified energy as prana. Prana is the breath, right? It's the breath of life. Obviously, you're not breathing, and there's no life. So this again is a life force energy. There's also qi, which is a Chinese philosophy about, or the Chinese version of prana, of life force energy, which is really allowing the flow of movements within the body, allowing and activating one's life force energy, and to be able to have control, manipulation, power through your qi. That's why practices like Tai Chi or Qigong exist, because it is the movement and flow of one's energy. And then we have, it's been called other things in other philosophies as well, but the chakra system, which is an ancient Indian teaching about the energy centers within the body. And this plays a key vital role. A lot of the times, sometimes people don't believe, especially when they're in a very high output, consistent state. Is energy a real thing? It is being questioned. And sometimes people don't believe in energy because it's not something that you can see with the eye. Some people can, but most of the time it's a feeling. You feel when things are blocked within you. Like if I tell you something shocking, or if you understand the chakra system, which is starting at the root, which is your stability, then going into the solar plexus, or the sacral chakra, which is that creative juices energy, and then the will, the power in the solar plexus, and then the heart chakra, and then the throat, and then the third eye and the crown, and they all play a key significant role. These are energy centers. So when I started in this field and learning about all the different systems of human beings, The chakra system was something that I had learned first. And it plays a key role in knowing where you are blocked energetically. Sometimes there's no physical, tangible explanation as to why is it that I just can't break through this specific ceiling, whether it's through your business, through relationships, through your communication, through your beliefs, through your patterns, through finances, through your own self worth, that kind of thing, through your connection with God. A lot of the times, the answers are encoded within our energy body. And working with people who understand that, and then understanding that for oneself, can really open the doors to learning how to take charge of this intelligent energy system that lives within each of us. To dive even further, this has been mapped out through direct human experience. So when your life force is flowing, we understand that there is vitality, there is creativity, there is clarity when it's all in flow. There is a universal law within energy, and it states that energy can only be transformed from negative energy to positive energy, from dull energy to like really life giving, life output energy. It can only be transformed. Lack to abundance. Non-clarity, confusion to clarity. This is all a state shift. This is all a transformation of energy. And if you were present during our last session, we talked about alchemy. And it's not so much about alchemy, it's about learning how to harness one's energy body to be able to use it for their highest good, for their goals, for their vision, for the flow of their own life, for the rhythm of their own life. And, why is this important? Why is it important to learn how to utilize our energy intelligence system? Because there's a key difference. So let's say you are a high output professional, and all the time you're meetings after meetings, paperwork after paperwork, you're preparing for speaking engagements, you're mentoring, you're training organizations, you're doing all the things that you are so brilliant at, right? But without that might look like operating from adrenaline, operating from dopamine, operating in ways, even with high levels of cortisol, operating in ways that make you feel depleted, that make you feel like you are not experiencing levels of joy, happiness, excitement, love throughout your life as you go about doing these things. It's not to say that life must always be that way. It definitely is not. But to harness one's life force can prevent burnout through high output, can prevent illness, because we know that as we are constantly using our energy, right, for meeting with certain people and being in certain situations that deplete our energy, or as we're constantly doing something and ignoring the bodily signs that say you need rest, you need sleep, you need sunlight, you need exercise, you need love, you need self-love, you need care, you need a good, nutritious meal, then we manifest illness in our lives. We manifest the opposite of what we're striving for, which is to create an internal system that can hold, that has the capacity to hold the amount of output that we put out into our work, into our business, into our lives. Our internal state must be able to hold our external output. And this is why this is important. So I do want to talk about the layers now within the human system. And I'm going to keep this simple because when we talk about human systems, and the reason why I had founded Èlyseèn and the whole concept of it is because when we think about the human system, it's all taught fragmentedly in many different parts and different aspects: mind, organs, skeleton, energy, thoughts. Instead of looking at the individual, at the client as a whole, they are one system. And within that one system are different components. But inevitably, what makes one optimize their human system is the communication. The communication between all the layers of self that make up the system. So now let's talk about the layers. So I'm going to write this out so everyone can see. So to break it down. So there's 5 key players when we talk about life, about energy. So we had already discussed this, which is life force, energy, which animates, right? This is animates the system. Animates, so existence in general. Existence. Oops. Gotcha. Okay. And next we have the nervous system, which I do speak about quite a bit. But this still has a lot to do with energetics as well. So the nervous system, right? This one interprets how we view the world, interprets how we experience life, interprets threat, safety, okay, and expansion. Expansion. And then we have emotional energy. And now emotions, right? Emotional energy. I do want to touch on this a little bit because as people who have high output professional lives, a lot of the times it's like it doesn't really matter how you feel. You just got to keep on moving, keep on going, keep on grinding, keep on doing the things. But, we are human beings for a reason. And although we have big goals, big visions, big lives, a lot of the times it's like it doesn't matter how you feel, but emotions directly influence your energy. It doesn't matter if you even suppress them because they still exist within us. So, for example, if I'm feeling, it's not to say that we have to live emotionally charged all the time. We must have emotional intelligence. But emotional intelligence is directly correlated with energy intelligence, as with everything else. This is human systems. It's about the communication of the entire system. So I think I heard Stephen Porges, hope I'm saying his name correctly, from Paul talking about polyvagal theory, and he talks about it's like the way that we experience the world, right? Our direct perception and the way that we perceive life is directly correlated with how we feel. If we are not feeling good, if we feel like crap and or sad and all these things, yes, it's about coming back to your baseline, which we had talked about at the very first open session, but it is how we feel that we experience the world and that gives us energy. Can you operate and give the best speech that you can, or lead a company feeling emotionally drained, depleted, and feeling emotions on the lower vibrational scale, such as anger, depression, resentment, anxiety? Is it possible? I mean, of course it is. People have done it before, but is it optimal? No, it's not. And this is why manipulating energy, I shouldn't say manipulating energy, it's more so using the intelligence of our energy system. And emotion plays a big role. Again, it's a charge, motivation, meaning behind it. Next, we have mental energy. So here is a big one. And when I work with clients, a lot of the time they are high output professionals, and a lot of the time they are leaders, and they have a lot of focus, right? Clarity. This is your cognition. And your mental energy is quite a significant player in the overall energy of your output. I will say that when we talk about mental energy now, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced certain experiences where you are literally overthinking. If you're an overthinking archetype or just in a state of overthinking, you can feel physically depleted, physically tired. People who have anxiety experience this quite a bit. So, being able to harness your mental energy for the direct, obviously for your goals and for your vision, but the focus, the clarity, the cognition, even the creativity, right? It must all be in balance in a way that gives you life. So the whole idea of high output now, let me finish this and I'll go back to that. The last one is physical energy, which we are quite adept at. Lots of people say, I sleep all night, I wake up in the morning, I still feel physically drained. Or you're working out, or you're an athlete and you're exercising, and you obviously have that physical energy through discipline, through training, through consistency, through strength, through practice. You have this physical energy. But I can tell you, this doesn't just come out of nowhere. Through the harnessing of your life force energy, that also gives you physical energy. And I can give you an example. So, stamina, recovery, output. There was a time very, very recently, but for quite a while, that my 1-year-old / 2-year-old now But when he was 1.5 or more, he would wake up for the last 5, 6 months every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I would be working and I would sleep at like 12, maybe. I'd get 4 hours of sleep. And a lot of people from the outside, they were like, Sarah, uh, aren't you tired? You got to get some more sleep. But I didn't feel that. I felt stamina. I felt excitement. I was mentally charged and ready to go, because I had utilized this life force. And sometimes the emotion of just excitement or being attuned to motivation, meaning charge, can physically give you life force energy to be able to optimize the output that you put into the world. And whether you are a leader or a mother, like especially mothers, it is a lot of high output energy to care for children, to mother children. Okay, so again, now we're talking about energy intelligence. So energy intelligence. Energy intelligence. All right, now that we know that these are the 5 key layers and players of energy within the human system, we can now define this to be energy intelligence as the ability to recognize how these systems interact with each other. As I had given you the example of my baby and when I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. Right? They all play a role in how we perform in our output. So I want to ask a couple questions just for an example. How many people know somebody who is a high performer, but they experience burnout? So what this would look like is they're extremely productive, they're successful externally, but they're internally exhausted. They're internally irritable. They feel flat inside. Their life force energy is very productive on the outer layer, but on the internal layer, it's like, it must also be so internal, right? Internal. So they're powered by pressure, powered by obligation, adrenaline, powered by not vitality. They're not powered by vitality. So I don't know how many people know someone like that, but I do want to have a contrast on what this looks like, right? So what does it look like when you operate without energy intelligence versus with intelligence? Okay. So there's not much room for writing this now, but with intelligence, without it, right? Without it, it's again, constant pushing. It's the reactive decision making, inconsistent performance, and then eventual depletion. That it always ends up to like, I am feeling depleted after this day. And we don't want that. We want to be output driven by a coherence, by effective communication between all these states of energy within our system. with all these layers of energy. We want to be responsive versus reactive. We want to have clear perception, clarity, and sustainable high output, and faster recovery, back to baseline faster. So high output without energy intelligence, it's costly on the system. It's costly on these layers here. It becomes costly. And if life force energy is what animates our existence, we want to be able to feed that, right? We want to be able to feed it health in a healthy way, feed it nutritiously, so that therefore the animation, the liveliness of our life can therefore also be in a healthy state, and so that we can give output through this intelligent network, this intelligent system. Okay. What else do I have noted here? So energy intelligence, as we now know, allows us the opportunity to make better decisions, clear leadership presence, fewer mistakes from emotional overdrive, and sustainable performance, as we had talked about. So definitely want to take a moment to audit now, okay? Because I didn't realize the time had went by so fast as it usually does. I'm thinking about making these sessions a little bit more than 45 minutes, but as for right now, I do have some questions. And these questions are designed to have you already recognize your energy system and how it currently lives within you. So the first question is, when was the last time that your output felt effortless? When was the last time your output felt effortless? Where in your life do you push despite resistance? What does that look like? Which environments or people drain you immediately? And when do you feel most alive, and why? So these questions are maybe some really good ones to journal on, to think about, to open your awareness as to how your current energy system might operate at this time. Okay, so I do want to have an energy intelligence audit. So I did ask you just a couple questions right now, but I do want to be able to do this so that you can understand how to audit your energy so that you can optimize your output. Okay? And doing this every now and then will give you a clear insight as to which one of these layers that I'm currently erasing needs to be utilized, needs to have stronger communication with the other in order to present to you the desired life force energy that you want to operate from, the quality of it at least. Okay, I'll leave this definition there. Okay, So first, you're going to obviously establish your baseline because everything comes back to base. So we talked about baseline before, so I'm not going to talk to it too much, but we want to audit your energy. So number one would be baseline. Establish your baseline. So asking, we got to orient. Where do you operate from currently? Am I operating from clarity or confusion? Am I clear? What does that look like? Do I feel open or compressed? Asking yourself, is my energy feeling directed or diffused? Number two, once you establish your baseline, it actually makes it easier to know now where to go from here. So next is your clarity of signal, right? We want to know if you're clear. Do you feel clean? Is it clean or noisy? What is your signal like currently? Asking yourself, are my decisions obvious? Is it obvious that I know what I'm doing? Is it an obvious thing? Or are you overthinking? Again, this is still clear or noisy, but to have a clear signal is important. And do you need to convince yourself often? Do you need to convince yourself? There's no shame in like affirming to yourself certain things and doing the practices and rituals to convince yourself, because sometimes we really do need that. And through mentorship and our own rituals and practices, we can obviously need to do that every once in a while, but we want to have a clear or clean signal. So a clean signal basically means that energy intelligence is online. If it's clear, it means it's online. If it's noisy, that means it's fragmented. So energy intelligence, when you have energy intelligence, this signal, it shows up as simplicity. No matter how complicated the task at hand is, your signal is clear. And this should be simple. Next is directional alignment, right? So now we need to know directional alignment. So questions to ask yourself is, where is my energy naturally moving? This is all about movement, right? So here we're talking about movement. So asking questions like, alignment, alignment here, it feels inevitable. And misalignment feels like resistance. So if you are met with resistance, right, then perhaps there is a misalignment. Resistance doesn't always mean misalignment though, because honestly, I could probably do a whole open session about resistance, because sometimes we have to push through our resistance in order to be able to execute what it is that we are doing. But when we're talking about an energy intelligence right now, when you are met with resistance in regard to where the direction needs to go, right? It's just more so about awareness now. Which direction do I need to go? Do I feel directionally aligned? Are you forcing movement? Are you moving naturally? So alignment feels inevitable, and misalignment does feel like resistance in the energy body or in the energy system. So energy leaks most at the point of misalignment. So when you're having energy leaks, it's good to know misalignment. Alignment equals energy leaks. Okay, so now we want to just ask yourself, I'm not going to take too much more time here, but now what this looks like from here is to understand your integrity. Are you holding something within you that feels unresolved? Is there leakage happening through resentment, through negative vibrational emotions? What conversation, truth, decisions are you putting off? Because all of these can cause energy leakages, right? What are you tolerating that is draining you? Unresolved integrity. And when we talk about integrity, again, it's that things that are unresolved, things that you're postponing, things that drain you. It taxes, it's taxing. It's a chronic energy tax. And when we are participating in people, places, conversations, these types of activities and things that require energy from us, we can feel that it is taxing our energy, and it does not support our highest energy intelligence to operate from that. So cut it out. Cut out the energy leaks ASAP. What's that saying? You just got to close one door to make room for another. It's like that through energetics as well. And the last thing would be to obviously take into account what your emotional landscape is like, right? Because processed emotion, this is what fuels the clarity. If you have unprocessed emotion or suppressed emotion, it distorts the signal. Are you feeling compressed or expanded? Like these types of questions to audit your energy will give you clarity as to where you need to make cuts and where you need to double down on. It is that simple. And to being able to communicate, to have this communication within layers of the self, within layers of one's individual communication system within their energy intelligence network. Okay. So I think I'm going to end the session here today. But I do want to note that energy intelligence, now that we know all the different components and systems to it, it can go deeper than that. Because when we talk, there's layers that I have not talked about, which have to do with the actual scientific aspects of energy intelligence, mitochondria, ATP. But perhaps, I don't want to go too much into that. Maybe I'll do a second part to this. We'll see. But for now, as a basis, the baseline, the signal, capacity, emotions, physical layer, the nervous system layer, it's not something to overthink. The whole idea of optimizing your energy intelligence is self-awareness. It's to know oneself. And this is why I created Èlyseèn in the first place, is because the most important thing is for everyone to know thyself and to know and understand the systems that are present within them so that we can live, lead, and operate and love and all the things that require us and our energy to do so from our highest frequency, from our highest state of coherence. So I hope that this message landed for you. If you would like to add more information, um, feedback, input, ideas, or you're interested in a 15-minute discovery call to learn to learn more about your actual individual system. At Èlyseèn and through each session, we go through a very unique blueprinting process to discover your current state, your energy, your heart rate variability, patternings, thought patterns, to optimize your system to lead, love, live, operate from your highest frequency. I'm Sarah Soul, and it's a pleasure. I will see you in the next session.